These are sky blue days. These are sky blue days. When the CBS and the SBA will fight to the end and lead the way. Sing out together. These are sky blue days. These are sky blue days. When the CBS and the SBA will fight to the end and lead the way. Sing out together. Sky Blue Fans TV, for the fans, by the fans.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sky Blue Fans TV. My name's Mark Smith. Tonight we'll be talking about a fantastic 1-0 win at Vicarage Road against Watford, and we'll be previewing the home match on Tuesday against Wigan. We have Barry Worthington from PWU, which is the Wigan podcast, who will be coming on later on the show. And last but not least, we'll be announcing the winner of the Tommy Hutchinson book competition for your. That was the competition to win a signed copy of Tommy's book. I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately. Tonight I've been joined by Miles Cadden. I was going to bring him on now. Miles, how are you doing?
Good evening. How are you? All right?
Yeah, very good. Thanks. All good. Also being joined by Mr. Ken Stewart. Ken, how are we doing?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Good stuff. Good.
You're standing up tonight, Miles?
No, I'm in a different position because it's short notice. Short notice coming on. So I was just about to watch I'm a Celebrity Masked Singer.
Right. This is much better than I'm a Celebrity. This is deep pod. This is a play. And then last but not least, we've got Mr. Glenn Watkin. Hi, Glenn. Are you right? Oh, he's not there. We'll bring him back on when he's ready to come on. So we'll talk about Watford. Let's start about the Watford game. So before we go into the game itself, let's look at the start of the game. There's a few changes for this one. Jack Burrows, Kyle McFadden and Casey Palmer come into the first 11. Start 11 with O'Hare, Bidwell and Callum Doyle all missing. What was your thoughts, Ken?
I'm all right, mate.
Yeah, not bad. Ken, what was your thoughts on Jack Burrows in particular, sort of making his first appearance in what felt like ages because he's been on loan for quite a bit? What was your initial first impression of the team? Was you happy with that team, or was you a bit concerned?
I was surprised when I seen him in there, but obviously there's obviously an issue with Bidwell. But to be honest, he was fantastic, weren't he? He didn't let us down. He was absolutely brilliant. And any concerns I did have were gone out the window come half time. I was quite happy with his performance, but I was surprised he was in there for the initial team. I did think O'Hare might start, but he didn't. Obviously, Robbins is taking into consideration we have got a game on Tuesday night as well against Wigan, so he's obviously resting his legs, and he did bring him on obviously in the second half, but he's easing his way back into the team, isn't he, O'Hare? So. But yeah, at the end of the day, Robbins was right, wasn't he? I think it was a good team in the end, a strong enough team, and they did a good job. Yeah,
Miles, I mean, we sort of spoke about yesterday on the fantastic show that you've done a very good job on. What were your thoughts on the team? Was it a team that you'd have gone for, or would you have changed it in any way?
I think I was very surprised about Jack Burrows being in the team and Casey Palmer, to be honest with you. I thought that he would have probably stuck with what we did on Tuesday night, but obviously, O'Hare, I understand that maybe he'd already played 90 minutes. He played 70 minutes before that as well. So maybe he had Tuesday night in mind. And, you don't want to rush O'Hare back, even though he does look 100% fit. He probably isn't, but he looks it to us because that's all we're used to. And Jack Burrows was a real big surprise. But then when I thought about it, when I was doing the stream yesterday, I realised that what I said when we played Bristol City in the cup game, he played on the right hand side in the second half, and he had some pace. So I've got the feeling that Mark Robbins was taking in mind Watford's front line and how quick they are. and Eccles and Burrows are pretty rapid, to be honest with you. And to be fair, Burrows, for me, man of the match all day long. I thought he absolutely smashed it. And I mean, he smashed it. He was an absolute star. He was superb. And I think Ailey McFadden was in the team because Doyle had the bug. So he's got the bug like everyone else did. But Jack Burrows, absolute fantastic debut, full debut. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but Eccles had his full debut against Watford in the Carabao Cup 3 years ago when we lost 3-0.
Yeah.
And that Eccles was thrown in at the deep end that night. So what a fantastic game for him to come into. What a great result. And absolutely just blown away by Burrows. He's really took his chance. It's like he said in his interview. He said, I've been given the chance and it's down to me and the players who get the chance to show the boss what they can do. And for me, he showed the boss what he could do. He was brilliant.
And
he was outstanding.
That's the great thing about it is the fact we kind of bemoan about the lack of depth in the squad. Yet, Jack Burrows has come in and he's really taken his opportunity. And as you rightly said, you look at who he's up against. He's up against Ken Sema, who's up against Ismail Assar, who are both pretty, very, very, very good. Certainly in Sal's case, I would have thought Premier League class, but hasn't really shown it this season. But he acquitted himself really well. He didn't look phased at all by the occasion. And I thought both him and Josh Eccles were outstanding. I mean, as with the whole team, but them two particularly, particularly with Burrows in his debut, he could have got overawed by the occasion, but he looked really, really almost like he took it like a duck to water, didn't he? It was just very, very good.
It was unbelievable performance. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was outstanding, to be fair. He's only a young lad. He's been with us for a long time, and he took his opportunity, and hopefully he'll get another one. It wouldn't surprise me if Robbins, sticks with him for Tuesday. To be fair, because he certainly earned his place.
I mean, it says a lot about Todd Kane, but he's given these lads an opportunity ahead of someone like Todd Kane, who was kind of brought in last season to be that kind of second, possibly pushing Dabo for a starting position. But you can see quite clearly that Kane's kind of quite down the pecking order, wasn't he, a bit? The fact that he didn't really come on. Okay, he did come on the second half, but you think that's a game he should be starting. But obviously, clearly, and credit to Burrows and Eccles, they've really grabbed this chance with both hands, haven't they? They just look, and it's great to see because with Eccles particularly, he gives you that versatility. He can play midfield as well, which I think is probably his best position. But he's doing a job for the team, and it's great to see that they're also homegrown players as well. I was stood next to these young lads at the ground, along with my cousin Martin and Steve and his lad Matty. And these young lads stood next to me. They're probably in their just turned 20, probably 21. And we were talking about Eccles, and I was gutted when he got injured last season against Stoke, the last game of the season. I thought he was going to miss a lot of the beginning of this season. And I said to the lads, I said, for his age, I think he's just turned 19, hasn't he? For a young lad like that can play in midfield and play at right back, and to have the confidence from your manager to say to him, go and slot in at right back like he did the other week when he had to fill in there. It's just, for his age, is just fantastic. To have a player that can play in two positions at that age is phenomenal. There isn't many players that can do that, and he's one that we've got to keep an eye on, because I've just got sneaky feelings someone's going to come sniffing for that young lad, and we'll probably let him go for peanuts because they'll say, "Oh, we'll give you this salon clause." We've got to keep an eye on him because he's going to be the next one, I think, and Jack Burrows. Yeah, we can't think too negative so far. I mean, they've only played a handful of games, so I think it's a little bit early to start thinking about things like that. I just think let's just enjoy the moment, enjoy the fact we've won a game yesterday, and enjoy the performances. And I'm sure there'll be plenty more performances and appearances for these lads to come. So yes, it is. I mean, it's always a concern, but you can say about any player. Any player who does who performs well has always put themselves in the shop window, and that's that we're not the only club in the division. As that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, even clubs in the Premier League have got teams who are sniffing over other players, so to speak. So it's just something we have to accept, but it is what it is. I think we just have to just keep going, and hopefully we won't be getting bids from other clubs. That's the thing, and we can turn those bids away. I just want to read out a couple of comments from our listeners. So we've got a comment here from Official Flame Esports team. Good evening to you. Really good performance from the team again, and a cracking save from Wilson later on, which we'll talk about in a bit. Burrows right wing back required, and moving forward can play Eccles in midfield is strong. Yeah. His best position. So I think that's kind of sort of going. I think Eccles has got that versatility about him, and that's a great thing for Robins to have, because with a small squad that we have, it's so important that you've got guys who can fill in other positions and can do a job for the team.
I just wanted to add on that Ben Wilson there as well, because he's been really important the last. 5 away games on the trot now, and we've kept clean sheets. So he had made a couple of mistakes, and he was under a bit of pressure, weren't he? And people were criticising him for a couple of mistakes he made, but he's been absolutely superb, certainly away from home. And I say, to keep 5 clean, that's a club record, 5 clean sheets away from home on the trot. And he made some really, really important saves at vital times yesterday to keep us in the game.
Yeah, I mean, go to Ben Wilson. So I think if we look at the first half, he makes a good save from the free kick. I can't remember who taking him up, this Saar, whoever it was. I thought good save. I'd say it's probably a save you expect him to make, because the wall's in a decent position. He's covering that area on his right hand side, and he makes a nice save. But I thought second half is really where he earned his call, because we obviously after we scored, you expect Watford to put pressure on us, which they did. He made one really good save second half, which he pushed it away for a corner, because you look at it again on the replay, that was going into the bottom corner, and he's managed to get a fingertip on it and just push away for a corner. That's a massive, massive save. We had a bit of luck second half. Like one of the strikers missed probably an open goal, which he hit over the bar. But in all honesty, when it comes to a place like Watford, you need a little bit of luck to win games like that, because it's not an easy place to come to. They don't lose many games at home. I just thought, I don't know what your thoughts were on Watford's sort of first half. I mean, I thought Watford played very nice, pretty football, very patient football, but they never really opened us up, really, did they? Apart from maybe the disallowed goal.
No.
Miles, it's just, I didn't even see the disallowed goal, in fairness. I was following the ball, but when we looked at the replay, it was an absolute blatant pull. So it was a good spot by the officials. And in fairness, we do criticise the officials a lot. And I think, in fairness to them, they got that spot on from what I saw of it on the replay. Yeah,
the referee had a reasonable game, I think, yesterday. He didn't do too bad, to be fair. We normally have a go at the referees, and we have been away from home, but certainly yesterday he was okay. I thought he had a good game, to be fair. Watford did surprise me a little bit. I thought we'd had a little bit more from them, but they didn't really cause us major issues, did they? For a team that just come down from the Premier League, I thought, and the team that were packed with ex-Premier League players, if you like, and a big budget. I just got the impression we could always catch them on the break. We looked dangerous on the break. Every time we got the ball, we caused them a lot of problems down the channels, and they failed to stop us on a number of occasions. Yeah, they had plenty of possession, but I thought we were a dangerous team on the break, and if anybody was going to score another goal, I thought we could have easily scored another goal if we could have. But you expect them to have chances at home because they're a home team, so I did expect a bit of pressure, and they certainly put this pressure on the last 10-15 minutes, didn't they, when we're under the cosh a little bit. But to be fair, the lads defended well, and I thought we were well deserved for that victory.
Yeah. Miles, Victor Gyökeres, obviously, aside from the goal, first half he could have had a couple of goals, and again, his work, particularly back to goal, is just sublime, isn't it? He was just fantastic yesterday.
We're going back to that one up front again, and it's like I said towards the beginning of the season, that people were saying, "Oh, we've got to play 2 up front." They were crying out for it last season, and when we've got the high press and we're playing 1 up front, It really works, and we knew what the game plan yesterday was. We had to crowd out the midfield because we've got some great playmakers in there. We had to try and control Sarr, which I thought was. Is this rude of me? I thought he was way under par yesterday. If that player, beginning of the season, I think teams were sniffing around him for £40 million. If Sarr's worth £40 million and can't cross the ball, then how much are our players worth? Because he to me yesterday, I think I'll reflect on what the Watford fans said the other night on Thursday night. He said if Sarr's on his game, he's on his game. If he's not and he's not turning up, he can have a shocker and have a stinker. And I believe that he didn't really turn up. Yes, he's got the pace. He did get Eccles got caught out a couple of times, but he still got back and Rose covered Eccles. Rose knew what to do, and between Rose and Eccles, they really had him in his back pocket. And then what was really nice about it was that if Eccles did slip up, Rose pushed in, but then Sheaf came across as well. So really, you had three players trying to track him back and close him out, and I think that upset his game. Same as on the other side. Panzo covered for Burrows. You know, if there was any situation where they needed cover, you know, the young lads that they were all helping each other. And Watford, to be honest with you, when you look at the way Ben Wilson saved that free kick, yeah, it's a great save, parried it away. He did it against Blackburn as well. He parried Diaz's free kick away, and a lot of keepers parry that into the centre of the box, but he didn't. He's learnt. He pushes it wide. There's never anyone wide. But Watford, for me, I just think we did a great game plan on them, and we didn't let them play the way they probably wanted to play. And do you know what? The pitch suited us yesterday, because when we start passing like we did against Blackburn, if we can play on a pitch like that week in, week out, and we pass the ball, we, like I said after the Blackburn game, we can tear any team apart. And we caught them on the break. We knew what we were doing. And, you know, they had a chance in the second half. Davis hit it over the bar. But Vic, before then, put it in the back of the net with exactly the same cross. And, you know, Vic could have skied it over the bar. So, you know, it was one of those days. We took it to them. It's like we said before kick-off. You know, you could come here, get smashed. If it was a free hit, we could get smashed 3-0 or really take it to them. Take the gamble, take it to 0-0 at half time and go and sneak it 1-0. That's exactly what we did. The game plan was 45 minutes 0-0. We did it at Stoke. If you remember at Stoke, we were under the cosh against Stoke in the first half. Took it in at half time 0-0. Come out the second half and we took it to them. And that's what we did yesterday. And it was just brilliant. But Watford, I thought they were very poor. For a team with all their millions on the pitch, I thought they were very poor. Really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I agree.
I just want to say about Jamie Allen, it was a fantastic ball from Jamie Allen as well.
Yeah.
The goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The build-up was fantastic. Casey Palmer vision to see him pass it out wide to Allen. Just the build-up. And then after we scored, we were playing little flicks inside the box and trying to flick it through to someone, you know, in front. The football in the second half, the last 15 minutes, I thought the football was phenomenal because Watford were getting so frustrated, and they were. I mean, there was a tackle on Walker coming from behind. Yeah, I'm sorry, he slid in from behind. For me, that's a red card. Victor got took down by what's his name? I forgot his name. The lad from Leicester. He took him down. Chowdhury, that's the one. He took him down, and you know, that's a red card. He was the last man. And he might have been running away from goal slightly, but what's to say if he was running away from goal, he doesn't pull it back, cut inside, and bury it into the bottom corner. And the ref did have a good game. He let things go. I thought he was pretty good, but they started getting frustrated, and when they got frustrated, we just started playing what we do, don't we? We were. It was just ace, weren't
it? but even the first half, we were very good on the counter attack.
Yeah,
you know,
all of it.
I think Watford probably had at least 60-65% possession. I don't know the exact stats, but they had a lot of possession. But when we did have the ball, we looked really threatening attack. We broke with pace. And just going to kind of go into the comments just on that. Our fellow podcaster Victoria Oates, evening Vicky, hope you're well. Spot on Miles. Always a lot of discussion about one or two up front. If we play to the best of our ability, when we can do either, and with the runners from midfield, we can really work with one up front system. So I think that's a vote of confidence on the tactics there. Glenn, hope you're well. We've been very successful playing one up front. League One promotion season and spells in the Championship over the last 2 seasons with one up front. Vic is the best all-round striker in the Championship. Would you go along with that, Ken? In terms of Vic,
he's certainly up there, isn't he? Yeah, without a doubt. On his day, nobody can handle him, can they? He can do everything, can't he? He can hold the ball up. He can run down the channels. He can put the ball in the back of the net. Okay, he misses a few chances now and again, but every striker does, don't they? But he's got all of it for me. I mean, on his day, he's very, very hard to play against. And when we're playing that one up front system, he's ideal, really. I know we don't like having injuries, and Godden's out injured at the moment, but we're doing okay without him at the minute. So, I mean, I don't mind playing one up front, to be fair. It's not negative, is it? Because we've got plenty of midfield attacking players that can come and support him. So it's not really negative. It's just a different tactical, way of playing, depending on the opponents we play.
Yeah.
I just want to say one thing. I read a comment from Stuart Linnell today, and he said, how on earth Nigel Pearson couldn't get the best out of Casey Palmer, because whatever Robbins and Ady and Dennis is doing behind the scenes to Casey Palmer, what a player. What a player. He really has come into this team and taken on the philosophy of what Mark Robbins, Ady and Dennis want to do at this club. He's obviously, they've probably sent him away to watch videos of last season and the season before and the League One season and said, look, this is how we play. This is how we want you to be. They've got to have done something like that, because he's come into this team. He's come into this team and he's doing exactly what they want and what we want them players to do. He fights and chases. He chases that ball like O'Hare. And you know what? I messaged Stuart back and I said, isn't it great that we've got an option where we can rest O'Hare? So we rested O'Hare for 65, 70 minutes yesterday. And because we've got Casey Palmer, where before O'Hare was playing every single game, he was wearing himself out. He was getting tired. I mean, he played every game last season, I think, apart from the cup game, and he come on as sub. To have that option on the bench where you can now change it, and I think even if you drop Casey Palmer Tuesday night and put O'Hare in, I don't think Casey Palmer would be upset, because he knows that we've got that option. We can bring up, we can have either or we can have both on the pitch. And it happened against Blackpool, happened against Rotherham. We had both on the pitch, and you could see what it was like. I want to see it from the beginning. I want to see Palmer and O'Hare at the beginning with Vic up front. That's what I want to see, because I just think that's going to be lethal, absolutely lethal. Casey Palmer's been fantastic for us.
Yeah.
We'll probably get that. We'll get to see that eventually. I think that'll be Robbins' ideal team. I think once he gets everybody fit, and that'll be brilliant.
Yeah, definitely.
Got Reece in the house. Hi, Reece. You all right?
How you doing, lads? All right.
Evening, mate.
Yeah.
Evening, mate. Nice to see you yesterday.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Who stood out for you yesterday, Reece, from what you saw?
I've just been listening in, and what you've all been saying about Vic. I think yesterday proves. I mean, if he can play like that every week, I mean, there's some games where he does get marked out of the game, but I think yesterday proves that for me, he's one of the best players in the league. I think when he plays like that, I mean, Watford are contenders this season to go up again, and he run them ragged. He had their defenders on toast all game, and I think if like you were saying just then, Miles, about Palmer, I think if we can get them three playing together, I think we're going to score a lot more goals. And I think you're talking about Godden there as well, where Godden's been injured. I feel for Godden because him and Vic didn't seem to work as a pair. But I think Godden, feeding off O'Hare and Palmer, he'll score a hatful as well. So I think it's very positive at the moment. Obviously, a great result yesterday. But I just hope to God we keep Vic in January, because I think that's going to be the hardest challenge come the transfer window opening for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
A comment area here from the official Flame Sports team about, if we keep Vic the whole season with us and we don't sell in January, we should be at least minimum top half.
Yes.
I mean that's the thing. It's one of those. It's one of those ones where I think he's got 18 months left on his contract, so you can see possibly see him going if we get the right kind of fee for him. But me personally, I don't want to see him go. I want to see him at least stay at the end of the season, and then just if we can carry on this sort of form, you never know. So I mean that's just my form. He's a massive player for us. Not just with goals, but his work. He fits so perfectly into our system. He holds the ball up well. He's very strong on the ball. He can get the ball. He can run at players, and we haven't really got anyone like that in our side. I mean, you look at sort of backup strikers. Miles' favourite, Tyler Walker. He doesn't really do that. And we just don't have. We just don't have the quality, and that's the thing I worry about. We, in my opinion, we have to try and keep Vic at all costs. But I do understand the financial aspect of it, where, if we get a good decent offer, he'll probably be off. But then my concern is if we sell him, are we realistically going to get a replacement in, or is Sisu going to keep hold of the money? So that's the other thing. And added to that, all the business with the club and the ownership, all that situation. So I think that's the thing. Yeah, and that's the thing you have to think about is if we can get owners in. If it's not Sisu or whoever it is that can really put some money into the club, which might be wishful thinking on my part, then we could turn around to clubs and say, bugger off. We want Vic. He's going to be part of our team in the long term. And then things might change. But, I'm also a realist. I think, if we get a good offer for him, he might go. But then I'm just thinking, are we going to get a replacement for him if that's the case? And I'm just not confident we will do. But
I don't think he's replaceable, Mark. I don't think we can replace him. I haven't seen an all-round player like Vic for a long time. I mean, he's strong. He holds the ball up. He can play up on top on his own with three centre halves, and he'll give them all a hard day. And I think that he's good in the air. He's got that strength. He runs the channels. He brings other players into play. The only thing I would say is that sometimes he probably could release the ball where he tries to go for goal, but that's what a goal scorer does. He wants to score goals, and the way he's playing at the moment with that swagger, that arrogance, I'd say, I wouldn't want him to be any different. But like you say, I'm just saying on that, Mark, I think Sisu, excuse me, I think they will want to cash in, and that's what worries me. I think they will see what's been going on regarding the rumours, and they will want to cash in. And I've got a feeling that I don't want to sound negative. It's just I feel that Sisu might put the pressure on the club to make a sale in January, and I just hope it's not Vic.
Yeah, I guess there's the concern with the ground situation, and obviously the club have they've said about the amount of money that was lost from cancelled games, and and obviously with the sale of Hyam, which kind of had to sort of balance the book, so to speak. There's always that kind of worry about that, and I personally think as a club, if we can keep our best players, I think we can maybe even put a push for playoffs, even if we could place the max that we can play. I don't see why I can't do that. But I'm a little bit concerned about that because I think the club have got form on this, and they sold Hyam on the cheap. I'm sure Mark Robbins though will have his say. He'll say to the owners, look, I don't want to sell my players. I know it's not down to Mark Robbins in the day, but Mark Robbins has had a pretty good relationship with Sisu, and I'm hoping that maybe that could sort of sway them into not selling. But I don't know. It's. I think it's a lot of this. The problem is because we're playing well, clubs are going to be interested in our players, and that's the thing. It's a confidence to our team that we're winning games, we're playing good football. You get other teams' managers saying, "What Vic's the best striker they've seen this season," and then it kind of makes us vulnerable, I guess, to a potential transfer offer, and that's the thing I'm concerned about. And for me, Vic is a massive player for us. It's not just his goals; it's the work he does off the field. It's all the donkey work he does. He does so well. We just don't have a player like him, and I just think if we get rid of him, who are you going to replace him with? We're going to be a lot weaker team. He fits perfectly to our system.
I think it's not just that, Mark. But if we do sell him, how much? What's the right word without swearing? But how much have we got to put Robbins through as the owners, and the lack of funds, and selling Hyam under his nose, the stadium issues, the pitch issues, off the field? I mean, Robbins is the glue that's keeping us all together at the moment. And if we sell Vic in January, I do worry, and Robbins just hold his hands up and say, "Well, what else can I do? I've been maximising the potential out of this team." And you can talk about Burrows coming in yesterday. That I was looking at the wing backs yesterday, and I thought we're in trouble here. But to get them performances out of them players and the team spirit, what's been created around between the fans and the players. I just think if we end up selling Vic or O'Hare or Hamer, even Sheaf to come of that, I think Robbins will just end up saying, "Look, I've done everything I can. I've done absolutely everything I can, and how much more, crap do you want to throw at me and my coaching staff?" And that's what worries me. If I was them, I know it's easier said than done, but I would throw a new deal at Vic in the next month, preferably around the World Cup time. And I'd say, look, the money we apparently have got for a loan deal with selling Hyam, I wouldn't. I'd risk it and say, keep Vic, because the way Cecil have got to look at it, if we pay out a little bit more for Vic now in wages, and I'm not talking stupid money, I mean, I know more or less than what Hyam was on, or, what Waghorn or Walker are on. I'm not sure how much Vic is on now anyway, but in the long run, if we do end up selling him, we will be able to get a realistic fee, because the longer we hold on to him and he doesn't sign a contract, then you're looking at lesser money we're gonna get back from him anyway. Because inevitably he will go. It's just a matter of when, because he's got aspirations to play in a higher level, if that's in Europe or if that's in the Premier League. And I think we need to start thinking from a business model of, right, if we pay out a little bit in wages now, we're going to more than quadruple that in a fee down the line. If it's January, if it's in the summer, I think that's how we got to look at it.
I mean, the other thing it could do is maybe the club make a contract offer and then put maybe a stipulation that if a club offers X amount of money,
like a release clause,
like a release clause. That's the only other thing he could do that might make him want to sign a contract. It's a difficult one. I mean, I think him and Callum O'Hare are two most important players of the football club, if I have to be honest. I think Hamer is a big player, but I think we've proven that we can cope without Gustavo Hamer. And I think this is the thing. It's a sign we're doing well because we're getting results and people talking about our players. They weren't talking about our players after 4 or 5 games a season when we had 1 point on the board. But I think, look, let's just sort of change something a little bit. The positives you can say is we've now played Sheffield United, Blackburn, and Watford. Teams are in the top 6, and we've taken 9 points off those 3 sides. Now, apart from Burnley, we're doing well against them top sides. It's just them games where Blackpool, for example, and Rotherham, where we've only taken 1 point from them 2 games. That's been the frustration, and hopefully, Wigan this time we can get the 3 points, which we'll talk about in a minute. I mean, it just goes to show, guys, that we can compete with the best sides in this division. We've got the players. We can compete. We haven't got the biggest squad, but what we do have is we play a really good style of football, and we can compete with the big boys. We can, the bigger clubs in this league, and that's the great thing, and that's really testament to the players and also to the management staff. We're getting results not because of Sisu investment. It's inspired them, if we be brutally honest, because Robin's had nothing, no money at all to spend on players, yet we're getting these results, and long may it continue.
Yeah. Can't complain really from Robbins. He's done a fantastic job, and there's all these people that keep putting on the fans forum about Robbins got to change the manager and all this nonsense. It's just they need to give their head a wobble really, because there's no man or no manager that can come in and do a better job than he's done, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, we always knew we can compete with these teams. We knew it was a sticky start to the season with the pitch situation, and it's showing what we can do with the squad that we've got, with the run of games that we've had. I think the only downside to this is that we're going to have an international break now for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
it's going to be a blooming nightmare. We could do it, just keep this going now, but then that will give a few players to get a rest and come back fresh again. But for me, I want to just go what Reece said about Vic and Mark Robbins. I think you've seen and heard how fed up Mark Robbins was after the Hull game and before the Luton game, having a player snatched from under you because of the situation with the pitch. He was sold at a slightly lower estimate than what was offered originally, because we needed to recoup the match day revenues that we lost out on the Saturdays. If I'm surprised Mark Robbins is still here, because the way he sounded back then, he sounded so fed up. It was unbelievable. I've never heard him so deflated as I did back then. And he to put up with what he's having to put up with, I think if it does go, and I think what will tip Robbins over the edge, if it goes on the last day of the transfer window. If he goes on the last day of the transfer window, because the club say, someone's coming, we need the money just to recoup a little bit more because we've had night games and we don't get enough revenue from that. I think that will tip Robbins over the edge, because it would just put the nail in the coffin for him, and it'd be going, I can't do this anymore. It's like, it's like I said the other day about the CBS situation. What's going to happen with the fans and Sisu if Sisu don't get this ground, because they're never going to have a better opportunity than this now. If they don't get this ground, if they don't go for this ground now, then they need to go, because they've got no ambition for the club. There's never going to be a new ground. If they can't afford to buy a ground that is in administration and you can get it cheap, they've got no intention of building a new ground. So for me, if they don't do this now and they sell Vic in January, or O'Hare, or both, or whoever, it's time for them to go. And I think Robbins will walk as well. But Sisu, if they don't do anything now, if they don't get this ground, and they don't keep hold of these players in January, it's time for Sisu to go. Really is. It is time for them to go, because they've got no intention of this club getting any further than where they are now.
Yeah, I agree totally. They've got no ambition there. They haven't invested. They've invested very little in the club, haven't they, since they've been here? And I say they wouldn't have a better chance now to buy in the stadium. And it just shows you, all this rubbish about building a new stadium by Warwick University and all this. It's never going to happen, is it? Never going to happen. And put the money where their mouth is and do the right thing. But we'll have to wait and see if that can happen. It doesn't look like it at the moment, does it?
Well, I think the thing I would say is no one knows what the situation is. I think we have to be crystal clear about it. There's a lot of speculation about Mike Ashley, Sisu, but there's a lot of, for all we know, they could have put an offer in. We just don't know. Yeah. I think we just have to wait until the facts come out. Yeah, so I think let's just wait and see. I've got a couple more comments, and then we'll talk about Wigan. So we'll come to a break in a minute, and then we'll talk about Wigan. So Glenn's made a comment about regarding Vic. Why would anyone leave us at the minute with our fans supporting them and the great football that we're playing? It's going to take a big offer for a club to sign any of our stars. So that's Glenn's view. And then Vicky made a comment. I'll just put it up here again. loved Robin's big smile yesterday. So glad he stuck with us, and hopefully will stick with us for the foreseeable future. So yeah.
Let's hope so.
So what we'll do now is we're going to go to a quick break with our sponsors, and then we'll talk Wigan. So stay tuned, folks, and thanks for listening.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. So now we're going to talk about the home match on Tuesday night against Wigan Athletic. So Miles, we'll start with you. Wigan coming to this game in not very good form. Last 6 games, they've lost 5 and drawn yesterday against Swansea City. I mean, is this a sort of game, as we kind of said earlier, where we could drop points? And this is where we have to be very careful. I think this is a massive game because a win for us Tuesday night would take us mid-table. How do you see this game going from our point of view?
Well, first on Wigan, I think their away form's better than their home. I think they've won 4 away from home. So I think it could be quite a bit of a tricky game on Tuesday. I think that we've got to be firing on all cylinders like we were yesterday, and just go straight from the whistle at the start and just go in for the kill. Put the high press on. The pitch is going to be nice. It's had a lot of rain on it, so it's going to be nice and slick. There's not been any rugby on it now for 3 weeks, so it's going to be a lot flatter, a lot smoother for the players, and just hope that the pitch is zipping around like it was last Tuesday when we played Blackburn. But then again, Wigan could come cause us some troubles. If Wigan come and start slowing us down and start playing silly games and, a few little niggly tackles to slow the game down, then we've got to try and find another game plan, because when teams do come to us and they start slowing our game down, we do tend to struggle against them. And that's what we've got to be careful of. But the main key for me is we've got to get the first goal. And if we get the first goal, then I can only see one team winning it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's a good point they make about Wigan. I think their away form is pretty good, and they've also some good draws as well. They drew, for example, at Norwich City, and at a decent point at Swansea yesterday. And I saw the goals from the game yesterday at Swansea, and again, it's set pieces where they get. I think certainly one of their goals, James McLean, obviously very experienced player at this level, puts in one nice corner kick which was headed in. There's definitely not. I mean, Ken, you just can't underestimate any team in this division. That's the thing, because you look at the table, Wigan are second bottom, yet there's not many points which separate second bottom from, say, even towards mid-table. It's very, very tight, isn't it? So it just shows, you can't underestimate any team in this league.
No, anybody can beat anybody on any given day in this league, because we've seen it many times. Top teams have gone and lost to teams at the bottom, vice versa. So it's just down to on the day, really. If we're not up for it on Tuesday, then Wigan, we can get something from the game. There's no doubt about that. We've got to be on our game. We've got to respect them like like as if we're playing a top team, and play the same way as we have been doing. Because at the end of the day, it's down to on the day. You've got to play to your strengths and disrespect every team that you play. Because I say in this division, it's so tight for points. Even West Brom are winning. I mean, West Brom went and beat QPR at the weekend, didn't they? Nobody expected that, to be honest, because QPR are flying, and West Brom have been pretty poor this season. So, and they go and win away. at QPR. So it just shows you, and if we're not on our game on Tuesday, we can easily get turned over. So we're just going to make sure we're up for it and we play the way we play and be respectful to the way they play, do our homework and do what we're good at. And I'm sure on the day, if we do play to the way we play, then I'm sure we can beat Wigan, no problem. But we've all got to be on our game, and nobody's got to be slacking at all. So just got to make sure we do that. And I'm sure Robbins will be saying that to the players. There's no easy games in this division, and don't take anything for granted.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Wigan's sort of formation they played at Swansea yesterday, they generally play sort of 3-4-3. I think they got. I mean, two strikers that I think could be a problem for us, particularly is Will Keane, who scores quite a few goals. He scored goals at League One and at this level. Charlie White, former of Sunderland as well, he's
know all about him.
Goals. Obviously James McLean on the wide left, he's a very experienced player, and he could be a threat for us, threat against us, should I say? I think Max Power, I think he was at Sunderland. If memory serves me right.
Yes.
Midfielder. Yeah. So I don't think they're a team they can underestimate. Well, you can't underestimate any team. If you start underestimating teams, then you lose. You've got to be on it every game. And I think it's we were kind of the underdogs at Watford, and now it's kind of Wigan to a slight extent of possibly underdogs here. So I think it's a game that we've got to be on our mettle, because we're not. We won't win the game. Reece, what changes do you think will be made by Robbins for this game?
I think it depends what was taken out of the players. I think you saw a lot of them drop to their knees after the win at Watford yesterday. I like the fact that Bidwell was rested. It worked out to be a bit of a masterstroke. So I think Bidwell will come back in. I think Palmer and O'Hare will swap places. So I think what I like about that at the moment is, as much as we want to see all three of them play together, I think if O'Hare starts and we've got Palmer, we know Palmer can come on and change the game. And we've seen that with O'Hare coming on and changing the game and getting us a point against Rotherham, so getting that penalty. So, yeah, I think we've got options. As much as, like I said, I'd like to see them all three play up top, I would play O'Hare and give Palmer a rest and see how the game plays out. And Palmer can come on for sort of the last 20 minutes. And if we need a goal or, we need to hold on, he's got that physical presence of him as well. So, bringing Palmer on doesn't just give us that attacking ability. I think he's really clever with his game management as well. I noticed a lot of that yesterday where, he knows when to hold the ball up. He knows what positions to be to get a free kick. He knows how to use his body. So I think, that'll be a change. I'd like to see Burrows play. I think he deserves to play again, to give him another chance. So I personally would give Eccles a rest, because nothing to do with his performances. I think rotation is as key as how the players are playing. So I would make that change. And the rest I'd probably keep the same. I'd keep the midfield the same. I think Jamie Allen needs to mention, because sort of 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was quite concerned about his performances in terms of his first touch and his final ball. But the last few games, from what I've seen, I mean, it's not just his engine. He's like a whippet, isn't he? He doesn't stop running all game. And then, we found a great pass yesterday for Vic, and obviously scored the winner against Blackburn. So I think you need to mention. It seems his fitness levels are just unbelievable. It's like, he's on win a lot. He doesn't stop, does he? So I think, they're the changes I would make. I'm not sure on the news on Doyle if he was left out for a reason on Saturday. I haven't seen anything about that.
I think he had a bug.
He had the bug.
See, again, we seem to forget that we've had a bug for the last 3 games. So for the performances we put in, I know we lost against Blackpool, but I think even in Robbins' interviews, he sort of just put that game in the bin, and just nothing he could have done about it. He played players that were even not feeling well, or even at half time before the game, where he had to change the team sheet as well. So I think that the rotation is key. So that's what I would do. And as well, I think we need to manage Vic as well. I'm sure we've mentioned it on this pod today, but if we lose Vic to an injury, or even all it takes is a little muscle tweak here and there. We've seen Dabo get injured recently. playing a lot of games. So I'd like to think that we start well. If we get a goal, depending on how it's going, I would probably think about giving Vic a sort of 20-minute rest as well. I know we've only got one game left, but all it takes is a look at Godden as well and Waghorn. The muscle injuries they're picking up is leaving them out for 6 to 8 weeks. So I think we need to keep an eye on that as well.
I think the worrying thing for me is probably you say there about Vic there, Reece. I think maybe now you've said it. I think maybe he might rest him like you've just said and bring Walker in. It's just something inside me just thinking when you've just mentioned that might happen, because I think he would want to go and get the win against QPR and rest Vic up ready for QPR. So yeah, that could possibly happen. If it does, I'm staying in Dillon's all night.
Well, the problem is
he enjoyed any shows in Dillon's, so
yeah,
we've got Tavares on the bench as well, so there might be a chance for Tavares to have a bit of a run out as well.
I still don't understand that.
I don't get it. It just doesn't seem to. I've just seen a question come up here from Fetter. He says he's just come up and mentioned about that the Walker decision. Why not bring the pace of Tavares on?
Yeah,
there's something not right there. Something's gone on, I reckon. But yeah, the worrying thing for me is there. Yeah, so. Yeah, he just said he liked the tactics, but one of his tactics was that he brought on Walker, and personally, he would have preferred Tavares with his pace. But then I love pace. I've always loved pace in the team. I remember in '87 and the '80s we had David Bennett and everything. Benno would go whip down the line and he'd cross the ball in, and you look at Peter and Love, Darren Huckabee, Hadji and all that. They all Chippo. I mean, Chippo was electric, and pace in a team is just fantastic. And you can see it when on Saturday, the way we played Saturday with the pace that we had with Palmer in there closing everything down, Vic working his socks off, Alan was working his socks off, and the pace of the young lads at right back and left back, Burrows and Eccles. It's just fantastic when you watch a game of football like that. And it's just, I just got a feeling that Reece has just put that in my head now. Reece, you bugger.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, he'll rest Vic and play Walker. I can just see it. I can picture it now. I can just picture it.
The problem is, if he's going to play Walker, I think he has to play O'Hare and Palmer with him, because for me, Walker creates nothing himself. He needs service, and I think he has to have O'Hare and Palmer working around him personally. But yeah, going back on what you're saying about Tavares, it's an interesting one, because whenever Tavares has played, the fans react to that straight away. They want to see him on the ball. They want to see him do well, get at the defenders. Let's see what he's got. I think the only worry I've got is we had Ponchatelli a few years ago, didn't we? And it seems to be sort of the same thing. He's got all this potential, as much as I think Tavares is a much better player, but he's not been given the minutes, and he's not been given the opportunity to prove himself to the fans, to Robbins. We want to see him. We want to see what he's got. And we know what Walker brings to the table. I'm sure Miles will say not much. So, Waghorn's injured. Godwin's injured. This is the perfect time to bring Tavares in. We've got 2 games left. I know he's not going to start. I don't expect all of us to sit here and say we want to see Tavares start. We want to see him play for at least 25, 30 minutes. Just give him the time to progress. Yeah.
Just wanted to I've got Barry now from Wigan Podcast who's just joined us. Barry, thanks for being so patient, and apologies for bringing on a little bit late in the day. How are you doing?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Just been listening to you all chatting.
Yeah. I mean, Wigan's form. I mean, last 6 games, had 5 defeats and 1 draw. But away from home, you've actually been quite, decent away from home. And you obviously had a decent enough result at Swansea, although you were 2 up. I mean, how do you sum up Wigan's season so far?
This last couple of weeks been a bit disappointing, but when we came up as champions, I never expected us to storm the Championship. I thought we'd possibly finish about 18th this season. I'm still optimistic that is where we'll finish. I heard you talking about our own form and away form amongst yourselves. That is a concern for us. Our own form is shocking, absolutely shocking. The only team we've beaten at home is Blackburn, which is ironic, really. But we always beat Blackburn because they're one of our neighbours. But our away form is something else. We won the title last season with our away form. It's absolutely brilliant. We've picked up points at Norwich. We were very unlucky at QPR. We could have won that game. We got turned over at Hull, but we went in front there. It was that new manager sat in the stands who never went to them. All that was going on, and I think they were trying to put a show on for him. Swansea again on Saturday, the form team like playing lovely football, but we were 2-0 up, and to be honest with you, they scored with what I considered a fluke goal right on half time. I mean, it's just come at him at his feet, and he swung his foot at it. It's gone in the far top corner, and then a penalty. Now it was a penalty, but it was a type of penalty that never gets given, if you know what I mean. It's one of them challenges where they wave play on, and the problem were it was Craig Pawson who was in his 16th game and had already awarded 7 penalties. So to keep that ratio of 1 every 2 games, he decided he had to award a penalty. But he did pause for a bit, and I think it's with him being a Premier League referee, he was probably waiting for VAR to kick in. But so I consider ourselves to be a little bit unlucky yesterday. It was I think it was the 86th minute or something they scored. So there's 3 points there. Away from home, we're brilliant, and then you look at our own form. We played Middlesbrough at home, but I thought we put a bit of distance between us and them. We went 1 goal up. Bill Keane scored it, and then our centre half Jack Watmore, who's absolutely he's top class lad, made his only mistake this season. Right on half time again, they got the equaliser. Second half, Jack Watmore's head had gone, and our defence fell apart, and it could have been 5 or 6 that game, to be honest with you. But that's typical of our own form. But I think one of our problems is, I heard you talking about the supporters need to give the red a wobble at Coventry because they're questioning Robbins. It's a bit like that at our place, and I think it gets a little bit toxic at times. It's like the fans are turning up expecting us to lose. As soon as we make a mistake, they're on the players' backs. We go a goal down, everybody's leaving the ground, and it's like, considering what we've been through, like yourselves, you've had a rough time over the past few seasons. Everybody knows our history with the administration we got put into, and to come out of that and still have a football club, I think for me personally, just to be able to go and watch my team play football is enough, and to think like on the back of that administration, we actually won the league we was in. And then to be, competing in the Championship this season. But we've only brought in about 3 players, Our starting lineup is basically what we started with last season in League One. So, So I'm not too despondent. I'd like us to pick a few more points up at home, if possible. But I think you might be in for a bit of a surprise on Tuesday because our away form and the way we do play away is very positive from our point of view.
Question I got here from Glenn for you is Liam Richardson, the manager, is he under pressure or not?
Well, it depends who you talk to. If you talk to me, absolutely not. He's got a job for life. Liam Richardson, everybody left the club under administration. He stayed. He wasn't even the manager. They brought John Sheridan in, of all people, the administrators, because he was a mate of one of the admins. He walked out on us and went to Swindon. Richardson stepped up. He did everything. He washed the kit. He was the manager, the assistant manager. He was the head coach, the goalkeeper coach. He sorted all the players' problems out. I mean, we were playing with kids and a couple of journeymen. The players we brought in, everybody left. The full squad left. We got ripped off with, you know what it's like. You're in administration. You lose all your players. Market value, Kiefer Moore, 1.3 million. He's a Premier League centre forward. Joe Gelhardt, who come through our academy, plays for Leeds United. 900,000 they give us for him. That lad now must be worth 15, 20 million quid. And it's not only talking to you. So, rent you what happened. But Richardson led from the front. and he never wavered once. And we got to the summer, the new owners came in, we were saved at the 11th hour. And that season, that summer, he had 3 players under contract and he built a brand new squad during the summer. And that season, then, we ended up being champions. During that season, Charlie Wyke had his cardiac arrest in training. First man on the scene, Liam Richardson, started CPR. So he's more than just a coach or a football manager. He's so revered by the people at the club that they've named the South Stand after him. It's now called the Liam Richardson Stand. But it's a results business, and you lose 5 games on the trot, and the natives get restless. So some of them are calling for his head and saying he's out of his depth and he should go. And he's a joke of a manager. I mean, you know the sorts of comments I'm talking about. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And they're usually made by 14-year-old lads as well, and always on Twitter and always under a pseudonym as well. So is he under pressure? He's going to be under a little bit of pressure. I mean, we're next to the bottom of the league. But will he get sacked? He's just been given a new 3-year contract, so I don't think he will be. No.
And also the fact that, as we were saying earlier, the Championship is such a tight league. I know Wigan are second bottom, but there's not many points to separate second bottom. We've got 23 points. So in theory, Wigan win this game midweek. That gets you out of the bottom 3. So I don't think it's any time to press the panic button, really. And also, from what I've seen of Wigan, I saw Wigan play at Norwich early in the season. And, Wigan were 1-up for quite a while, and Norwich scored fairly late on. And the thing that struck me at Wigan is how disciplined they were as a team. They were organised at the back. They all knew what their roles were. And they looked a really good, hard, really tough side to break down. And that's the thing I fear a little bit with Coventry for this game, because we cannot underestimate teams like Wigan, because we've lost to teams, with the great respect, Blackpool, we shouldn't have lost to them, but we lost. So I think it's a kind of game. I think it's going to be a much harder game midweek than what people might think. I think Wigan are a decent side. I think they're a side that they need. I think from what I've seen, they need to get the home form sorted out, and that's been your problem. I think away from home you look good, and I think that's why for this particular game it will be a tough game, because I think Wigan are a better side than what people might think they are. That's just my view, anyway.
Yeah, we know our own strengths and we play to them. The problem is our strengths are like you said, to be niggly, to be very defensive, to be a little bit dirty. We do time waste when we go in front, but them's our strengths, because we've not got a team full of flair players. We have flair players, but we've not got the team full of flair players to take the game to the opposition. The problem with our own form is we have to play it like that at home as well. So when you're at home, there's more pressure on you to get about the opposition, because they come and sit a little bit. So home games are very strange affairs, very, very strange. One thing I will say, we will score a goal without any doubt. We always score, so we will score a goal. Will Keane's our top scorer with 7, and he's got 2 assists as well. But he plays as a number 10 rather than an out-and-out striker. Now, he has played a couple of games up front on his own, because we've had injuries either to McGuinness or Charlie Wyke, so he's had to cover. But he's far better playing a little bit deeper. I suspect Charlie Wyke will lead the attack with Nathan Broadhead alongside him on Saturday, and Will Keane in that all just behind. So, but I'd expect us to score 100%.
And sort of formation-wise, a kind of sort of 3-4-1-2 kind of formation.
Well, last season we used the 4-2 sitting midfielders, 3-1. We've changed it a little bit this time, because with us going into an higher league, we need to be a little bit more defensively secure, shall we say. So we're going with 3 centre-backs and 2 wing-backs. James McLean plays as a wing-back, and on the other side we got Tendai Darikwa, who's the club captain. But we still have those 2 sitting midfielders just in front of the back 3. Possibly Naylor and Power. It might be Shinnie or Cousins, because they've been in and out of the team as well. And then up front we'll have the focal point, probably Charlie Wyke, and then we'll have the others just floating about round about him. Yeah,
got a question here from official Flame Esports team. Who's been Wigan's best player this season so far? Who's the one to watch for the Sky Blues, in your view?
Well, I'd have to say our top performer this season has got to be Jack Watmore. He's the centre back. Picked him up on a free transfer from Portsmouth. Said he was injury prone. He's not missed a game for us yet since he's come. He was voted player of the season last season by the supporters. He's a blonde-haired lad. He was nicknamed the League One Bobby Moore last season. He's absolutely class. He doesn't if he's playing in the centre of a back three, he never tackles. He reads the game perfectly. Yeah. He makes interceptions. So I'd definitely say him. Up front, if we have a couple of lads who's come through the ranks, Callum Lang is one, but he's been out injured. He's had ankle ligament damage. He came on at Swansea on Saturday, so we're hoping he's going to be coming back. I don't know if he's going to start or not, but he'll definitely get on at some point. And we've got a young Norwegian Scouser. He's the Norwegian Prince, Tello Asgard. He's only 20. Absolutely brilliant player, 2-footed. His mum and dad are in the Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra, the Norwegians, so that's why he's a Norwegian with a strong Scouse accent. He's a beautiful football player. You know, he's got everything. But we're using him right, shall I say? He's had a little run in the team. He's been left out a bit. He comes on as a late sub. He scored a goal for us this season already. He loves to cut in from the left and hit a curler into the right-hand top corner. Scored against Blackburn in the FA Cup last season, and it was voted the FA Cup goal of the season. So, that's the type of quality he's got. Usually from about 30 yards, he bangs them in. So, but I should imagine he'll be coming on with about 20 minutes to go.
Well, hopefully, we won't be doing that on the Tuesday night. Fingers crossed. Of course. Okay, let's go. And just one other question here from Feta D's. He's asked, do you know how many Wigan have sold for this game Tuesday night or not?
How many fans? You mean how many tickets we've sold? Not a clue.
Tickets sold? No.
Yeah, not a clue. Yeah. I think people have been a little bit, I'll not say worried, but I know there's a lot of people wanted to come. I mean, I've been down to I still call it the Rico. I've been down to the Rico, and I think it's a lovely ground. And other people haven't been because we've not met that often, especially lately, have we? It's 2016 since we last played each other. So a lot of people wanted to go to the original game, which was unfortunately postponed. And then there was a little bit of, is it going to be played at Burton? Is it going to be played at Walsall? Going on. So that might have affected sales a little bit. And then obviously we've had our bit of a slump as well. So we've dropped from 7th down to next to the bottom. So possibly about 500 or 600, I should imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a shame about the game being cancelled because I was looking forward to that. From a Saturday to a Tuesday night, it's always a bit annoying when everyone's working and that, and it's just frustrating for us all as fans. But it is what it is. Yeah. Let's go predictions to this game. So we'll go the away side. How do you think this game's going to pan out?
If I go with my heart, I'd say we're going to nick it 2-1. But I'd use my head, and I know how good we are away from home. And you've lost 3 games, haven't you, on your home turf so far? Yeah. If I'm using my head, if I was going to put a bet on, I'd go 1 apiece.
Yeah, fair enough. Reece, what's your view for this game?
Well, I think I've got the Rotherham game in mind really because I think we slightly underestimated Rotherham when they come to us. I know we sneaked a draw in the end, but I think beating Watford, like I said earlier, I think it depends how much it's taken out of the players because it was a hard-fought game. I'd like to think we're going to nick this. I was going to say 2-0, but after hearing that we can score every week, I'm going to have to give them the satisfaction of scoring a goal. So I'm going to say 2-1, but I think it's going to be a lot harder than what people are suggesting because I know what the fan base is like. Well, we've gone and beaten Watford. We should walk over Wigan. It doesn't work like that. We've seen throughout this season already. The Championship's normally crazy anyway, but this season is ridiculous. I mean, to see Blackburn near up the top losing, I think, 8 or 9 games, it just shows in itself that anyone can beat anyone. So, I mean, I'd just be happy just to win ugly. If it's a 2-1 or 1-0 or last-minute penalty, I'm not bothered. But, yeah, I'm going to predict 2-1 and fingers crossed it sets us up for the nice last game for the World Cup at QPR against QPR on Saturday.
Okay, Ken, what's your view?
I'm going to go for a very tight game. Obviously, I don't think there'll be many goals. I'm going to go for another 1-0 win. We've won the last 2 at home 1-0, so it'll be nice to get another 1-0 win. It's going to be tight. don't think there'll be a lot of goals. I think obviously Wigan will come here to try and get a result, but I think we'll just nick it by 1 goal.
Miles?
Ken's just nicked my scoreline.
You can have it as well. You can have it.
No, I don't do that. That's not fair. I'm going 0-0 at half time.
That's what I was going to say.
And I mean, I know our guest there said that Wigan score every game, but we've only conceded 4 goals since Cardiff, and I think that's just fantastic for us. I know we've lost 3 at home, but we did beat Blackburn on a Tuesday night, so I'll go. I don't think we're going to score. I'm going to go a 2-0 this week. There's just something's happening. It's clicking, and if it keeps raining and the pitch is being rolled every day, I think the pitch is going to be superb, and it's going to suit our style of play.
Yeah,
good.
I think it'd be a harder game than what people envisage. Actually, I can see it being a 1-1. Actually, I'm kind of going with what Barry says. Yeah,
getting on the fence.
Yeah, it's not unusual for me to be fair, but no, I think the thing that I think is about getting the first goal that will win the game. It's one of them games where, yeah, if we get a win, I think Wigan will be very disciplined. They'll be organised. They won't make it easy for us. That's how I envisage it. And I agree. I don't think many goals, but I'm just worried about the number of games we've been playing in recently, whether that's going to have an impact on us. But it's a massive opportunity for us. We win this game, we go mid-table. So there's a massive carrot there to get up the table and start putting pressure on the teams above us. So there's a massive incentive to win this game. I think Wigan will be a lot harder side from what people. I don't think they'll go down this season. Wigan. I think they'll stay up. So I think there are 3 worse teams than them. So I'm going 1-1. That's my view. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, but you never know. I'm always wrong. I said Watford 3-0 last game, and look what happened. So can't rely on me. But, yeah, let's see what happens. So we've got a couple more bits to cover. I think Glenn made a comment about CWR. Want to make a comment about the fact that there might be redundancies made on CWR, and obviously our sympathies are with everyone there, and it would be really, really bad for local sport generally that that there's going to be a reduction in service, which I think is a terrible shame. And if anyone out there can sort of contact the BBC and make any comments to try and sort of stop that from happening, that would be really appreciated, because it's such an important part of the community and fabric of local football that any sort of change to schedules and that, I think is a really, really bad thing generally. So that's just something I want to say.
I mean, Mark, I'll say a bit more on that. The sport's staying. It will be the shows that will be on air locally on BBC CWR will be between 6 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So 6 in the morning till 2, and it's the afternoon shows onwards that's going to be changed and be spread out around the country. And we're going to have people, other radio stations being broadcast on BBC CWR. So, you're going to lose the prime time really, where people are coming home from work. You're not going to, coming home from the schools, all things like that. And then the Saturday shows as well. Like Lorna's show in the morning and Brody in the late morning, and then your afternoon shows after 6 o'clock after the football. So it's going to be a big shame. But I think tomorrow they've got Phil's going to be speaking to the director of Nations of the BBC. He's going to be on in the morning, and people can ask some questions and get their views. Because I mean, for me and all of us local, it is it tells you everything. It tells you where the road closures are, if there's train disputes, if there's what's going on around the city, what's going on around Warwickshire, Stratford, everywhere. So it's vitally important for our local area.
Exactly, yeah, and also up and down the country as well, not just in the CWR region, but 100%. That's great. So last but not least, we've got the draw for the book for Tommy Hutchinson. You doing that, Ken?
Yes, we can do that now. I was going to ask Barry for selectors a number, but I think Barry's gone now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, he needs to go. Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, I can do it on a number generator. We have 29 names in the draw for the Tommy Hutch signed copy. And we'll even throw a Sky Blue Fans TV mug in with it as well, since it's near Christmas. So you'll get a mug and a book signed by Tommy. Glenn has kindly... I don't know if you can see that. Glenn has kindly put all the names on if I show them on here.
On your phone, yeah, I'll see it.
On the names on there, 1 to 29. I'm going to go back to the number generator. There it is there. Generate 1 to 29. I'm going to press the button there. And the number has come up. Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4 is, we'll go back on the thing. And number 4 is Kim. Kim is number 4. Kim.
Okay, Kim. Okay,
Yeah.
Congratulations, Kim. We'll be in contact with you all the details.
We'll find out how Kim entered the competition, whether it's by Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or even email. And we'll get back in contact with you, obviously, and you'll receive a signed copy of Tom Hutch's book, which is a very good read. I've read a little bit of it already, along with a Sky Blue Fans TV mug. And thank you for everybody who entered. And stay tuned for more competitions coming up over the World Cup.
Yeah, we will be having some more competitions sort of throughout as the season goes on. So stay tuned.
I think Glenn's just messaged and said that's his mum. So Glenn Watkins just that's his mum. So
is it?
It's not fixed.
Well, it could be fixed. Yeah, it could be fixed. Yeah.
Congratulations anyway to Kim, whoever you are.
Congratulations, Kim. Okay, so that rounds off tonight's show. So we've got another show Wednesday. We'll be talking about hopefully a win against Wigan, and then we'll be previewing QPR. We'll be joined by the QPR program editor, Ben Kosky. So he'll be joining us on Wednesday at 7:30. So stay tuned for that. Thanks everyone for listening. Play up Sky Blues, and we'll speak to you on Wednesday. Good night.
Thank you. Play up Sky Blues.